Welcome to Get Mastermind. Uh, this is where we bring the best of the Global Alliance and beyond to give you, just the best nuggets that, we're learning on this journey with you, right? And remember that, every time you hear somebody on here, don't ever feel like you're too far away from what they're teaching because there's oftentimes that people are just a couple more chapters ahead and they're just relaying back to you trying to speed up the process, right? Try to compress time so that we can elevate the global alliance faster and faster. So quick reminder, we got Build at Sea coming up in August. So buildatc.com is where you're going to want to go for that. But I'm super excited. We get to hear from one of my brothers. We might look a little bit different. We might have a different mama. But this is my brother. This is my brother, and it's a funny story how I met this guy. So you meet people oftentimes, and you feel the energy, and you're like, man, I connected with this person like right away. And I met this guy at a place in Orlando called the Citrus Club one time, and he was working with an investment company at the time, and we connected, we chatted, and we're like, oh man. This is an awesome connection, right? So then like a year passes or something, I don't even remember, and I see him again at the Citrus Club, and I'm like, oh Mike, I'm like, dude, I haven't seen you in a while. What you been up to? And like both of us at the same time, I'm like, we joined EXP, and we're like, no, like we should have talked before this. So lesson number one for today is make sure you connect with your great contacts, especially guys like Mike, because they might join EXP without you. But here's the cool part. We're all part of the same family and we're here in Orlando. And Mike's one of those guys that, came into our office and brought an incredible energy. He's been speaking on stages all over the country, internationally as well. And Mike not only brings a lot of knowledge from, the real estate side, like he's on the ground doing it, producing, but it's like he's running two tracks. Like he's running a leadership track, right? Where he just really has become such an incredible leader within EXP and just in his own life and in his personal development journey, but also on the production side. So I'm very, very excited to introduce my brother, Mr. Michael Collier. How you doing, my man?
I am fantastic, especially after
Let's
that
go.
intro. I appreciate that.
Let's
That's
go.
good. Yeah, man. So yeah, like Bobby said, we're cut from the same cloth, look a little different, but everything is the same. And I'm really excited about today because I love, first of all, I love the Global Alliance, but I also really enjoy the Gap Mastermind. If this is your first time on here, welcome. I know I invited some people on here, so welcome to you all. Hope you get a chance to really feel the love that's in this group because this is a group that is all about collaboration. That's what this whole thing is. These are individual agents, these are team leaders, these are members of teams, all whether they're financially aligned or not, coming together and every single week learning from each other, growing with each other, and championing each other's growth. And that's something that I always say is you know make sure that you're clapping for people as loud as you want for people to clap for you when you're in that position, right? So celebrate people the way that you want to be celebrated, and that's one of the things we do really well here in this group. So without further ado, let me share my screen. I want to bring to you guys something that I'm really excited about, and it's the concept of leverage. Let me present. Okay. All right. So I want to talk to you guys today about the concept of leverage. I'm calling this leverage to level up. You got to leverage to level up, how to scale your business without burning out. Now, this is really important to me because I think a lot of us on this call, I know we're all at different places in our journey as far as business is concerned, but I think it's safe to say that a few of us have witnessed, or if you haven't witnessed it from someone else, maybe you yourself have felt the onset of the burnout. Can I get a witness? Have any of you all, whether it's in this industry or any other business that you've been in, you're all about hashtag hustle. I'm going hard in the paint. I'm waking up before everybody. I'm going to sleep after everybody. A team no sleep. I'm not even sleeping, right? And I think what has happened in our industry is that it's actually gotten pretty, that hustle culture has gotten really toxic. You know, we are we champion the idea of being the first in the office but the last to leave. Working 80 hours a week, and doing all these things, and it's just like, but if you could do more, or let's say if you could do the same amount of business but work less, would you? I think the answer for everybody on the call would be absolutely. And sometimes we don't know how to go about that. We know that we want to scale a business, but we don't know exactly what to do, what triggers to pull, what, if we were told like what buttons to press, what knobs to turn, how much to turn it in order to scale a small business into a larger business, I think most of us would do it. But the truth is, most businesses stay small because they don't know how to scale. And so, whether you're a first year agent, a fifth year agent, or a 25th year agent, I think there's something in here for you, because I talk to agents all across the whole spectrum, and many of them, they're witnessing themselves burning out and don't know how to get out of it. So the question is, are you headed towards a burnout or a breakthrough? See, I was headed towards burnout. As a matter of fact, I actually witnessed it in my own career. On this picture on the left here, this was actually before I even joined EXP. Before this is actually when I was wholesaling. I'd started doing some wholesaling after I left Disney. So some of you guys know my story. But I worked at Disney for 12 years. I represented the company at a very high level. I was a global spokesperson for the company, what we call a Walt Disney World ambassador. Spoke on stages representing Walt Disney World globally. And then after 2016, I left Disney. I started doing some real estate investing. So I was flipping homes and doing some hard money lending and really all of the facets of real estate investing that there is. And then I got into wholesaling. And the reason I actually ended up in general real estate is because when I was doing wholesaling, if you've ever done wholesaling, sometimes you call people and you're like offering, basically pennies for the person's house, and most of them don't take too kindly to it. You're calling them and saying, "I'll make you a cash offer," and they're asking you how much the offer is, and then you're like, the house is worth 400,000, but you'll offer them like 210. And if you've ever done wholesaling at a high level, you know that you get cussed out a lot. And so I changed my strategy. I said, well, what if I actually started offering to sell their house on the market? So, okay, so you don't want to take an investor price of 210,000, but would you be willing to take whatever the market is willing to pay for it? Well, yeah. How much is the market willing to pay for it? Well, let me do some research. I don't know, but I think you might be able to get a little bit more. I can't tell you that for sure until I actually come see the property. That's how I would get in the door. That's how I would get the listing appointment. End up listing the property, and I was like, well, I can do this and be at a better environment with people that I actually can build with, because again, the wholesaling environment that I was in was kind of a toxic environment. I wasn't with the people. I wasn't with my people, put it that way. And so I discovered EXP, as Bobby was talking about, and once I discovered the Global Alliance, I was like, dude, this is where it's at. But I was working a lot, um, on the left hand side. And when I even got into real estate at EXP, my very first year, I did pretty well. I sold 12 homes in my first like 9 or 10 months, and then the following 5 months, I sold zero homes. And by the beginning of 2020, I was facing bankruptcy, and it was bad. It was really bad. But I found myself looking at either giving this thing all up, packing up, saying, "Hey, I tried." Not everybody makes it in entrepreneurship. Not everybody makes it in real estate. I sell 12 homes. Most people sell 2 homes, whatever. But I just had that spirit in me that was just like, man, I know that there's more, and I know that I can figure this thing out. It's just that I didn't know what buttons to press, what leverages to, what levers to pull. And long story short, I actually started doing a ton of open houses. I started doing, I started calling agents because I didn't have any listings of my own, right? So I started my idea to get myself out of having to actual file for bankruptcy was like, man, I need to start doing some open houses because open houses are where the free leads are. Like people are coming in there and I don't even have to have a listing. All I got to do is call on agents who have listings and actually do those open houses. And I can actually get leads from those and start selling those. And within about 4 or 5 months, I was doing an open house almost every single day. Like as much as I could possibly do an open house, I was doing open houses. And I ended up within about a 4 or 5 month period selling enough, closing enough deals where I made about $40,000 to $50,000, and I was able to call the bankruptcy attorney and let him know that I would no longer need his services. God showed me a way out, and so I didn't ever end up having to file bankruptcy. But what did I do? I was able to leverage the listings of the agents on on the other side of these deals that had listings on the market. So I'll talk to you a little bit about that, but I was doing it all, man. I was doing, scheduling the showings. I was doing all my own marketing. I'm doing, whenever I had a deal, I was the one doing the paperwork. It was a lot. It was a lot. And as I'm saying this, some of you can this will resonate with you because it might be where you are right now in your business. Like you're doing it all, and you're focusing and wanting to grow and double your business, as we always say. Oh, I can show you how to double your business, right? Well, for most of us, that simply means selling more homes. Okay, you sold 10 homes this year, you want to sell 20 next year. Perfect. You sold 15, you want to sell 30. You want to whatever it is, you want to double your business. But the reason why most of us aren't able to do it is because we don't know how to actually scale. We think selling more homes means doing it all ourselves. So what is leverage? Leverage is actually using the right people, tools, and systems to multiply your results without multiplying your hours. Again, if you could get more money and sell more homes, but work the same amount of time as you're doing that right now, or possibly even less hours than you currently work in a week. How many of you guys, show of hands on the call, how many of you guys would actually do that? Give me more money and I'm able to spend less time doing it all day long. So let's talk about how we do that. Okay. There's 5 pillars of leverage that every agent should consider starting today. Okay. That's people, technology, marketing systems, database and referrals, and then mindset, really, and mindset and boundaries. Okay. These are the levers. These are the tools. These are the buttons, the dials that you turn just a bit. And sometimes you just need that 2 millimeter shift in our mindset to change our business, to change our future in generations to come. Another thing that made me start thinking about leverage, it was actually before I even started selling real estate. When I was working at Disney, one of the things that I did at Disney was I was in sales, and I sold Disney Vacation Club, which is Disney's timeshare, on board the Disney cruise ships. And I was working, I mean, easily, 60, 65 hours, 70 hours a week. I was making good money, but I was burnt. By the time I would come home, I'd sleep for 2 days before I could actually get my energy back. And so what was happening was while I was away from work, while I was away from home, I'm working and giving the best of me to everybody else. But then when I came home, I was only giving the rest of me to my family, right? The people that I said that I was doing it for, my family that I said that I was doing this for, that I'm hustling for, that I'm out here grinding for, are the people who barely get a chance to see me when I get back because I'm tired. I don't have the energy. I'm sleeping. And that's when I knew, like, man, I knew that wasn't the way to wealth. Rich people focus on money, wealthy people focus on time. And so if we're talking about generational wealth, we have to do things differently. And so let's talk about what it looks like for pillar. I'm going to ask you guys, you can put it in the chat, but when we talking about leveraging people, what are some ideas that come to your mind in order to start scaling your business and utilizing the services or the knowledge of other people? What are some of the things that come to your mind? Maybe it's hiring a coach, right? Go ahead and put it in the chat. What are some of the things that come to your mind? Or you can open up your mic too. We can do that too. Here's some of the ones I came up with. Right? How many of you all have a transaction coordinator? Good. Not enough hands, but there are some hands. I remember the first time I thought about having a transaction coordinator. First time I thought about having a transaction coordinator, I talked to an agent who was well more advanced than me. Like they'd been in business for a long time. I was like only in my first year, and I was like, "Hey, so when should I consider hiring a transaction coordinator?" You know what they told me? He literally told me, dude, you don't really need to start focusing on a transaction coordinator until you're about when you're doing a consistent like 30 to 40 deals. Once you're doing it consistently 30 to 40 deals a year, that's when you bring on a transaction coordinator. So I went through my first couple of years thinking I don't need a transaction coordinator until I'm able to level up and get to the point where I'm actually selling 30 homes a year, 40 homes a year before I bring on a transaction coordinator. How many of y'all know that that's an asinine way of doing business? Like that doesn't even Bobby throws his hand up, right? Like, ain't no way in the world you should wait that long. How do you know? Because unless you're somebody who absolutely loves doing paperwork and chasing signatures and all that kind of stuff, like if you love that stuff, then you know you're probably doing some stuff that you don't necessarily need to be doing. You probably chose the wrong profession. Because if you're focusing on doing that, you're losing a lot of time. Same thing with a showing assistant. You know, if you are trying to build a business, one of the reasons why a lot of people will start a team, a lot of team leaders will start a team is because they get to a point where their business is starting to grow and they start saying, okay, well, maybe I just want to focus on listings or maybe I just want to focus on buyers or this aspect of the business. But I can't. What happens? What happens when you have three deals going on at the same time? Three active clients happening at the same time. Let's say after active buyers happening at the same time. They're all three are pre-approved through your preferred lender, and all three of them want to show a house, see houses this weekend. What are you doing? You have to prioritize. Well, I can get you between like 11 to 1, but then I can take these folks from like 3 to 5, and then I'm going to take you guys. And then, well, normally I go to church on Sundays, but I know you guys are only available on Sunday morning, so I just won't go to church, and I'll go from 11 to 1, and I'll get you guys right. And so now you've canceled your church plans, you canceled your plans with your wife or your husband, and all of a sudden, like you gave up yourself for this person, this other family, and they might ghost you. They might not even show up. Their plans can change just like that. Oh, we had a family thing. We can't make it. So they're prioritizing their family, but you're not prioritizing yours. Again, the heart of this, I want you guys to hear my heart on this. This isn't just about business. This is about getting you back and underlining your purpose and the people that you say that you're doing this business for. This is how you give more of you to the people that you love. You have to be selfless with some of your time. And so, using a showing assistant, hiring a virtual assistant has helped me tremendously. We'll go into that a little bit more in just a bit, but man, I have three virtual assistants right now. I've had as many as seven virtual assistants at a time, but I have three virtual assistants right now. They make up my digital marketing team. All right. I have a social media manager, I have a SEO manager, I have a video editor full time. Right. And so I'm not sitting behind, social media, sitting there and like, editing my video for 2 hours to try to get a reel out or choose what music to put on there. Some of us are doing that and we call that working. Right. We tell ourselves that we're busy, but we're busy being busy, you know, and that's not going to get you where you're trying to go. And then obviously partnering with buyer agents. Here's what we have to do. We have to start removing yourselves. We have to start removing ourselves from low dollar activities. What am I talking about? How much money does it make you to sit behind your phone for an hour or two to edit a reel? How much money is that making you? How much money is it making you to uh get all know all the documents, get all your documents signed, make sure all the initials are on there. Oh man, they forgot to sign something. You got to chase that back down, and you're trying to do it from your phone because you're out probably showing homes, and you're trying to get this offer in or whatever else. Like, how much money does that make you doing that? And here's something more important to ask yourself: how much money is it costing you? It's costing you more money than it's making you. If you were to add up, let's say an average, um, this is another reason why a lot of agents go listings versus buyers. But let's just go with this. If it takes you um, 25 hours in real estate, let's just say, to make a $10,000 commission check. What's that math? $10,000. That's the average. That's 3% based on a $330,000 home, right? So that's a $10,000 commission check. And let's say you put in a total of 25 hours. That's $400 an hour. So what this is saying is if it's not if you're doing something that doesn't pay you at least $400 an hour, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. If you can hire out somebody for, you know, $300, your transaction coordinator might cost you $300 to get that $10,000 commission check. Is that worth it? Absolutely. Because that same time frame, they're gonna spend less time, but that same $300 that you pay them over the 25 hours that you worked is $12 an hour. So which would you rather be making? $12 an hour or $400 an hour? We have to remove ourselves from low dollar technology or low dollar activities. The pillar number two is technology. What comes to your mind when I talk about using leverage with technology, leveraging technology in order to grow and scale your business? You guys take yourself off mute. Trying to get some engagement here. Anybody?
AI.
No ideas. AI. Absolutely. AI is one of the first ones, right? If you're not leveraging Chat GPT right now, man, you are missing the ball. You are missing it. How many of you guys are using Chat GPT every day at this point? Multiple times a day. Like a lot of your life and business is surrounding this. It should be, even automating things like your CRM. So like if you're using KV Core, which is the CRM that we get out of the box at EXP, right? You're already paying for it. You already have it. I know it's Bold Trail now, and there's other three, but there's these automations that you can have in there. How cool is it that you can run an ad, for little to no money? A lead comes into your system, and your CRM automatically starts communicating with that lead without you even knowing about it. All you see, the only way that you actually know that that lead came in or that they're actually responding is because you see the response. The lead comes in and says, "Hey, I saw you were looking at 123 Main Street. Did you have a moment to chat more about it, or did you have any questions specifically about that property?" And they go, "No, just browsing." And you're like, you didn't even know that your CRM sent that text message out, but all of a sudden you're seeing their response, and you're like, "Oh, just browsing. Oh, this is an active lead. Let me give this person a call. Okay, can I give you a call real quick to get a better understanding of what you're looking for?" All right. Or great, that's what the website is for. What exactly are you browsing for? But using Chat GPT, here's what's cool about it. Chat GPT can actually even give you the response sequences. It will write out a response sequence for any lead that comes into your CRM. So if you don't like what's already in your CRM, because most CRMs already have something out of the box, it already has. You just toggle it on, and it automatically has the responses in there, right? But you can actually build this with ChatGPT and plug it into your CRM, right? And then systematizing, onboarding, calendar links. It's like, how many of you guys have a URL where like your calendar is tied to a URL? So if somebody says, "Hey, Bobby, you got 15 minutes I can chat with you?" Are you like, "Oh, let me check my calendar and see what works. How about Tuesday at 3? How about Friday at 5? How about?" Or do you send them a link and say, "Hey, here's my calendar link. Book something that's convenient for you and me." Right? Eli, is that how you do it? Eli's a busy man. He doesn't have time to just be like, "Oh, well, let me check my calendar. You check your calendar." And you guys need to be using the technology that's at your fingertips. Like if you're not using a systemized way of of getting people on your calendar already, you're way behind. It's time now to start letting the tech do the repetitive work. Some of you, I can ask you right now, "Hey, when's a good time for us to go to lunch? Let's get together for lunch." You're like, "Oh, okay. Well, let me see. How about Saturday? How about Friday? And unfortunately, we treat our leads the same way. You know, you get a lead and you're trying to book your buyer consultation, your listing consultation. And you're like, oh, well, how about Friday? How about Saturday? How about Sunday? Well, the Sunday at 11 work. Somebody, it's like if you don't have a systematized way of doing this, man, you're going to run yourself ragged easily. Okay. Um, Pillar number three. Let's talk about it. Marketing systems. What are some of the marketing systems that you can leverage to scale your business up? If you take your business from where it is right now, what are some of the marketing systems that you could use or that you are using? Are any of you guys using any marketing systems already? Here's what I'm doing. Here's how I do it. I batch my social media content, right? Simple. Batching social media content is, you might say, well, how is that marketing? I'm marketing myself. Some of you follow me on Facebook. That's where I do my long form posts, right? You'll find my reels and my short form content on stuff like TikTok and Instagram, primarily Instagram. But on Facebook, I like I share my heart, right? And so you get to know a lot more about me personally. Why do I do that? Why does that even matter? And am I the one writing that? Yes, I'm the one writing that stuff. With the use of a little bit of chat GPT in there to, polish it. But it's me, it's my voice, my thoughts. But why am I doing that? Because that's my personal marketing system. Like if you can't market yourself, how are you going to market your services? Some of us do a piss poor job of marketing ourselves. How do you market yourself? You let people know who you are. See, most of your clients know one thing about you. You're a realtor. Most potential leads, potential clients know one thing about you. You have a real estate license. But do they know what you care about, what you're passionate about? Do they know what you enjoy doing? Do they see you with your family or like whatever you have going on? Do they know what your passion is? Who you are as a person? Because there is such a thing called a personal brand. You should be marketing your personal brand, which endears people to you because people do business with people they what? Know, like, and trust. So it builds that likability factor. So how are you showing up on social media? Some of you aren't showing up because you go, well, I don't know what to post. I never know what to say. Most of you have videos and and photos in your phone from like 3 years ago. You still haven't posted. You probably have stuff from last week that you meant to post and you just never posted because you didn't know what to say. So batching that social media content and maybe using some of that chat GPT to be able to do that is going to help you to level up. Creating reusable templates in Canva Pro. Here's one of the that's a pro tip for you, right? These reusable templates for just listed, just sold, open houses, all of that marketing stuff that you could use. You don't have to build that. Some agents are building that all over again every single time. Why? You have access to something like Canva. You can use the basic version, but if you're at EXP, we actually have Canva Pro for free. It's actually included in our EXP brokerage. So that's something that we don't have to pay for. And we have these reusable templates and most of the templates are already built out for you. All you have to do is add your personal information, right? Add your name, your phone number, your email address, boom. And if you program that into the system, then you don't even have to do that every single time, right? Canva Pro is amazing, Kenny Williams, right? So, and then delegating posting to a VA. How many of you all have ever gone to post, like you've written a long post, maybe on Facebook, and then you go to add a photo and you go back to the post and the whole post is gone? Anybody ever been there before? Have you ever gone to post something and then when you actually went to go post it, like all of it's gone? That sucks because now you have to rethink and rebuild this whole thing all over again, man. That's tough. But if you have a virtual assistant doing that for you, that's their problem. I mean, that's something that they focus on. That's not something that you need to be focused on. And that's also something that allows you to be consistent. See, some of you guys are looking at it and go, "Well, I don't have a problem in that department, Mike. Quite honestly, man, I post all the time. I'm Gucci in that department." Okay, but how consistent are you? Right? Because if that's the consistency that builds trust, and that leverage helps you to stay visible and out of sight, out of mind. But if you can actually help people see you more often, then you start gaining what we call mind share before you can actually gain market share. Very little known topic there, but mind share starts first. Getting positioned in someone's mind to use you when it's time for them to use you. That's where the market share comes from. So we got to focus on the mind share first. All right. Pillar number 4, database and referrals. How can you leverage? Somebody tell me, how can you leverage your database and leverage referrals in our business, in our industry? You can type it in. I see some of you guys chatting. Um, Eli said you can make 60 days of content in 10 minutes with ChatGPT and Canva. Absolutely. And the fact that we can do that and we know that and we people still are not doing it is wild to me. What about this? What about client touch points? What about, do you have a plan to reach out to your clients? I probably shouldn't say it that way because many of us have plans, but the plans are not being executed. I, you were planning to reach back out to your clients for those referrals. You were planning to reach back out for those Google reviews, but you didn't. You didn't, and you probably only reached out once. Hey, congratulations on your closing. So excited. Thank you for using my services. Thank you for hiring me as your realtor. You give them a closing gift, and that's it. You got nothing else. What about using ChatGPT to come up with a client touch point at a week after they close, 6 months after they close, congratulating them on a 1 year anniversary, home anniversary, right? Referral partnerships. This is where you utilize your database to get these referrals, man. You know, whether you can hire. So I had at one point I had hired a referral virtual assistant. Their job was to look on all of these Facebook groups, these agent referral groups that are in there, mastermind groups, and they're like, oh, looking for a buyer's agent in Orlando, hit it. As soon as you see it, Orlando or in that Orlando area, they were posting, and I was able to build my referral business from agents, and they were also in those those buy sell trade groups that are on Facebook as well, garage sale or whatever it is in your community, in your area, in your city. If you don't have somebody else already doing this for you, then you should be doing it. That's a little pro tip for you. Get in all these garage sales or buy sell trade and all this kind of stuff, and those people need your services too. All right. You know, your solar rep. If you know somebody who sells solar, guess what? They're walking into houses selling solar to people who actually own their homes. So they probably have a long database list of people. They probably also know first before anybody else who's thinking about selling their house or not. You know, that's true for your Massey guy who comes in and sprays for bugs, or your lawn, your landscaper. Like, are you talking to these people, letting them know who you are, what you do, and how they might be able to help you and how you can help them, right? And then of course affiliate income from the services that you already know and trust. um, you know uh, Gil and I, we both have, and I think Bobby also, we also do solar, right? Bobby, you still doing the solar thing? No, you were never. Okay. But Gil and I, so like I've helped some of my clients put solar on their roof, right? And I got paid for it. Why not? So there's one way to increase your income without having to sell more homes every single time. Some of you are coaches, or you are considering having a coaching platform. That'd be a great way to get some affiliate income. Don't leave easy revenue on the table, guys. Like there's a lot of ways to get it without just doing more deals every single time. This is actually one of the reasons why agent attraction works, right? When we partner with other agents and we help them through all of this and help them build and grow their business, you benefit as well. That's one less home that you have to sell every single year. Help more agents sell more homes, you won't have to sell as many homes, right? That's leverage. And then pillar five is mindset and boundaries. And we talked a little bit about this, but letting go of those $10 an hour tasks, hire somebody else out for it. I know it's scary when you first think about it, but these $10 an hour tasks, man, like a lot of that is what's milking your business and milking your time. And so you have to start thinking like a CEO. What is a CEO's job? I always say, in order to scale a business, you can't be the CEO, the cashier, and the janitor all at the same time. And if you think of any of you know somebody who's opened a restaurant before? Like they went into the restaurant business, they opened a small restaurant. That's not an easy business. One thing about a restaurant is like you open up a restaurant, you've just given yourself a job. In most cases, that restaurateur, that restaurant business owner, they're the ones opening the store. They're the ones stepping in when people call out. They're the ones who have to man the cash register, but they're also taking care of all of the systems, making sure that none of the machinery breaks down or whatever. They're wiping the tables. They're doing all of the stuff. They lock up. They're like hustling backwards. They have very little time to work on the business. And that's where a lot of agents fall into. We fall into a category where we spend a lot of time working in our business and not allowing enough time to focus on our business. And so when you start working on your business, now as a CEO, you're the visionary for the business. You're thinking of how more lead flow can come in. You're the rainmaker. You're thinking about the 3 year, the 5 year, the 10 year plan for your company, for your business, your real estate company. But if we're thinking day to day to day, hustle, 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 sell, 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 deal to deal to deal, it's really hard to lift your head up and see where you're actually headed, the path that you're headed. Because most agents, when they keep their head down and just sell, 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 what they actually end up doing is building a prison for themselves. They don't know how to get out of it. They're selling 50 homes a year. They're selling 100 homes a year. And it looks like success on the outside, but their marriage is stressed. They're never spending time with their kids. They're gaining weight because they're never working out anymore, right? Like they just don't have time to do the things that make them whole. And I love Tony Robbins' quote. I say this quote often, but Tony Robbins has a quote that says, "Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure." And you don't want to find yourself in that position. So you can't scale what you won't release. When I talk about hiring virtual assistants, man, that gives some people like the chills. They're like, "Oh, you trust people? You trust somebody to post for you on your social media account? They have access to you. What about you give them that kind of access?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I don't want to be doing it." Yes, there's some safeguards that you can do to get this stuff done, but I'm telling you, man, a virtual assistant changes everything. How many of you guys are using virtual assistants on this call? You've used virtual assistants before. Yeah. Some of you guys are, some of you guys should be. And some of you aren't there yet, and that's okay too. But let me tell you, before, so I told you my bankruptcy story. When I was facing bankruptcy, I didn't actually end up having to finish the filing for bankruptcy because of the open houses. I started leveraging other people's listings. I started selling out of those. But I was still I was still working myself into a frenzy because I was trying to work myself out of a hole. And so I had to keep my head down and I was bop, 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 bop. And before I knew it, it was hard for me to actually scale. I remember talking to an agent and she was really professional. She had everything. Like if you're new in the business or newer in the business, you every once in a while you're going to come across an agent who just is firing on all cylinders, right? Like you submit that offer, dude, they have somebody else who responds to you and it's a beautifully formatted email. And then somebody calls you and says, "How was the showing? And how was it?" Right? And like, boom. And they have all of this. And you're like, dang, they got this thing tight. And I remember there was an agent who was like that. I remember where I was when I was having this conversation with her. I was talking in the car And I said, hey, I just out of curiosity, I said, you seem to have this really, really dialed in. How long have you been in business? And she said, I've been doing this for about 10 years now. And I said, um, just out of curiosity from your business standpoint, how much business do you typically do in a given month? And she said, well, it varies. She said, but if I fall anywhere lower than like nine, like working on 9 to 10 deals at a time, then I'm worried. And I was like, 9 to 10 deals at a time, and you're worried? Like at that point, I was trying to level up to get like to more than 1 or 2 deals a month without stressing out. And so I started asking her, how are you able to handle 9 to 10 deals at a time? And she said, oh, well, I have a transaction coordinator and I have a this and I have a that and I have a. I'm like, oh, so she's not working harder. She's working smarter. We talk about it, but we rarely do it. And so I was working. I had 18 closings in a year, but I was working more than 60 hours a week. Now, last year, I closed 37 transactions. I average about 35 hours per week. I have much more time with my family. I'm making more money than I was making at 18 closings, and I have more freedom. So, again, I pose the question, if you could make more money working the same amount of hours or less hours than you currently are working, would you do it? Because you have to understand, in order to go from small business owner to CEO level, you have to start giving some of this stuff away. You cannot be the CEO, the cashier, and the janitor in your business every single day, day in, day out, and then still be talking about doubling your business. How are you going to double the time in a day? There's only 24 hours. We have to get honest with ourselves. We have to get real. And so I want you guys to do a really quick exercise with me. I want you to rate yourself in each of these pillars from 1 to 5, right? Rate yourself from a 1 to 5 in each of the pillars. And just be honest with yourself. I'm not going to ask you to share it, but write those 5 pillars down: people, technology, marketing, database and referrals, and mindset. And rate yourself. How are you doing in each of these areas? And from a leverage perspective, how well are you leveraging other people, leveraging other agents, showing agents, an operations manager? I just recently hired an operations manager, Alyssa, she's on the call, and it's been a game changer for her and for me, right? It's freed up that much more time. See, many of you think that you can't afford to hire someone, but the honest truth is, you really, depending on where you are in your business, you might not be able to not, like you might not be able to afford to not hire somebody. It's that time. Do you have a transaction coordinator? That's the first hire you should be making. And honestly, I don't care if you're doing 5 deals a year. There's no reason for you to be laden with paperwork. Bring on a transaction coordinator. Technology. Be honest with yourself. Are you still scared of AI? Are you saying that you use ChatGPT, but you don't really use it, or you use it every once in a while? Are you still making those funny looking pictures with AI? You're telling AI to make you look like, a Marvel character? Eli, I saw yours. I saw it. Eli's like, made me look like Sesame Street. I saw it. Uh, Marketing. What about leveraging marketing systems? What about your database, man? Have you spoken with your your lawn guy, your AC person, your accountant, your attorney, your neighbors? Like, where are you on that from a scale to 1 to 5? One being lowest, 5 being highest. And then mindset. Be honest with yourself. Give yourself a true, honest self-assessment on where you are as far as mindset, CEO mindset level. How do you feel about this whole leverage thing? Giving people a portion of your, trusting people with a portion of your business to help you to make more money and give you more time. Circle which one is your lowest. And then what's one move that you can make this week to level up? Just moving the needle just a bit, y'all. I'm not saying go from 1 to a 5. I'm saying go from 1 to 1.5. Go from a 1 to a 2. Go from a 3 to a 4. this isn't a sprint. This is a marathon. So as I'm starting to close, I want to show you guys this. I want you to use this matrix because this is huge. This is the delegation matrix. So a lot of times people are like, all right, I know that I need to get some stuff off my plate, but how do I decide what I get off my plate? How do I decide what to give away? Well, write a matrix on your paper. For those of you guys who are taking notes, like the crossbar, right? One line here, a line across the middle. Now on the top left, this is this is your growth zone. Growth. This is stuff that you love to do, but you're not necessarily good at it, right? Maybe it's running comps. Like you know that you actually love like the idea of knowing how much a property should be priced at, or how much your buyer should be making an offer for, but you're not necessarily good at it. Well, that's something that you either need to delegate, get somebody else to do it, or get some coaching on it. You can choose to improve in that area. On the top right, this is what you love and you're good at. This is what we call your sweet spot, your zone of genius. This is the stuff you keep. You don't give this away. You don't let anybody touch this. This is your things that you do and you do very well. And that might be looking different for all of us. Some of you aren't face to face. Some of you are a back wheel more than you are the front wheel. Hire somebody to be your front wheel while you can be the back wheel. You know, the bottom left, these are the things that you don't love and you're not good at it. This is your failure zone. This you have to delegate immediately. Get this off your plate. I don't love it and I'm not good at it. That's not your gifting. You're not anointed in that area, and that's okay. We're all going to look different, but get it out of your plate. Get it off your plate. And then bottom right, these are the things that you don't love, but you're good at it. Right? I don't love doing it, but I'm good at it. I know how to do this. Consider delegating that or automating it. You don't have to get rid of it, but you can, or you can automate it. And so here's where you focus your time. Focus your time in the top right. That's your sweet spot. You love it and you're good at it. What do I delegate first? The bottom left. And so this is where you guys have seen those lists of like, here's the 89 things that I do as an agent for all of my clients, whatever that is. If you use it, probably you give it out and you look at it, half the stuff you don't actually do, but maybe there's some of the things that you should do. Whatever these things are, if you were to list out the things that you actually do on a day-to-day basis, you know now what to delegate. And then do it every week. Now, as I close, if you guys want help building this, again, I'm still learning leverage. I'm still leveraging to level up, but I know that leverage is the only way to scale. I know that scaling is the only way to go from small business owner to big business owner, to go from operator to CEO. I know that. And so I'm working on it myself. If you're interested in virtual assistant, you can go to my website. You just scan the QR code that's on the screen. I have my website there. Scan that; it'll answer some questions. You'll see some testimonials on there. If you're just curious about how the whole virtual assistant thing works, man, let's level up together. I'm happy to help. That's my time.
Let's go. Uh,
Mic drop.
yeah. The if you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat. But that chart, that little quadrant thing, like that right there was like something popped out at me. I was like, oh, that thing. Is there anything popped out at you guys that it's like, oh my gosh, this is the thing that I need to have somebody take off of my plate? Like, does anybody
Yeah.
have that thing that you're like, okay, that's the one thing that, I don't love it. Like, actually, share it in chat if you're willing to, share it in chat. Something you don't love and you're not good at it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the one. Like, that's the one I looked at. I was like, oh yeah, I don't like that at all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've got to figure that out
Like
because
that at
there's,
all.
and I'll tell you mine. Maybe that kind of helps some folks, because I feel like, we say this all the time, and that the fortune is in the follow up. And it's so true because I remember working for my buddy Nick, and it's funny when you're building something on your own, right? It's like you're building the plane while you're flying it, right? It's entrepreneurship. But then you work for somebody. Like I've been in entrepreneurship for a long time, and then I worked for somebody, and I started realizing what the magic is of actually working for something that's structured, because you just plug into systems that are already there. And one of the systems was that I had to put together this um, spreadsheet every night of everybody I talked to, all the notes, and basically color code them and be ready to know who I was like going to reach out to the next day. And I could tell you that it was a simple like Google sheet, but it was revolutionary for me because it just kept me on track. Right. And that's when I was like, dude, fortune isn't a follow up. Like, I became the top salesperson within 6 months because I was like, dude, like I just needed to be on a structure, right? Like, because if
Yeah.
not, then my ADD kicks in and I'm all over the place, right? So follow up for me, like I feel like I'm really good at I'm an in-person person. So like that's me. Like I'm a business development type of guy. Like that's me. But even if I reach out to people that initial time, having somebody that's like, dude, okay, now you hound these people. like you stay on them. That ain't me, right? Like you get them to the point where they're ready to talk to me again, right? Because like I feel like that's it for me. Like, because there's all these opportunities that are floating around all of you guys, right? And I feel like that's the thing. Like, if you could have somebody that's, hey, you got to do consistent touches on these people one way or the other. Like, here's the list. I've already reached out to these people. They're not responding yet. Okay, I'll do the first one. You do the next 10, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
till they're ready to click that Calendly link and get on my calendar. So they're ready to talk to me about this thing. And like that is revolutionary for me. Let's see what it says. Laurent said, someone mentioned you can create 60 days worth of content in 10 minutes with Chat GPT and Canva. Please tell I've had Chat GPT to create graphics for me and they look horrible. um, Mike,
Yeah. Well, ChatGPT is really, really good, but not good at everything. And so there's other, AI platforms that you can use depending on what I don't know what kind of images or graphics you're looking to create, but ask ChatGPT what are some of the best AI platforms to use for graphics for productivity. I don't know if you're talking productivity graphics or what. Um, but
yeah,
some of this stuff is already.
worth of content. So it really depends on the content. So the answer is it depends on the content, right?
Yeah.
So ChatGPT is good at some things, but there might be some AI better for other things. I can tell you, like, you know, I really it's improved a ton when it comes to just graphics for like all my presentation graphics, and I do a lot of presentations, like a lot of PowerPoints, and like I create the graphics on ChatGPT, and it's gotten incredible. Like I do, and
Yeah.
I just
It
really
can spell
specific.
now.
Yeah, Eli, what you got, bro? Unmute.
That was me. That was me who made the comment. I'll post if it's okay. I'll post a link to a video I made on how to create this in like 5 minutes.
Okay.
Is that cool? She's talking. She
Yeah.
was asking about the 60 days of content. I just posted the video. I actually did that. So we use ChatGPT to create the 60-day content, and then we take that into a CSV file, and then you upload that to bulk in Canva, and it just creates 60 days of content for you. So like 10 minutes, you do 60 days. That was her question. So I just posted the video right now
Oh, perfect.
on YouTube.
This is why we got the global alliance. And
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
broker Puerto Rico's on the
I
call.
don't want to
Everybody,
steal thunder from Mike because Mike is the
I
man,
know
but
everybody bow down.
that
We got
was
the broker Puerto Rico.
yeah, send me your
So
referrals.
that's absolutely. Yeah, no, that's
uh,
what it's about, man. Like I said, we talked about, collaboration. Um, that's the key to all of this. And again, when we're leveraging people, you leverage your network, you leverage the group that you're a part of, right? Leveraging the Gap Mastermind. If you're not either showing up and inviting people to opportunities like this, like what are you doing? I always say, don't just take notes, take action. Take
Absolutely.
action.
So, guys, once again, buildatc.com for those who want to go to build and be on a cruise and go on vacation with leaders. I know Mike is going. And thank you for joining us on Gap Mastermind. And like Mike said, whatever that one thing was you got today, take action on that. Mike just put the link for the Smart Hire VA on there as well. So make sure you click on that before we sign out. Have a great rest of your Monday and week. God bless you guys. Take care. Thank you, Mike.
You. Peace.